What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? In this video, I'm going to be going over the stages I have witnessed personally of traders who've never heard of iFVGs before, all the way to, okay, I know what an iFVG is, I'm profitable, I've gotten payouts, this is awesome. So I'm going to be going over the steps. What step are you in is the question. So maybe you'll find out. And how do you keep progressing is what I'm going to be going over in this video. So without further ado, let's get started. So what's going on, guys? The first step of traders that I have witnessed that typically don't know what an iFVG is, they all usually come from ICT, and they have this misconception of fair value gaps, or, oh, every fair value gap has to reject, every fair value gap has to be a support line, you know? That's their first take when they learn ICT, because they see ICT market fair value gap and they think that a fair value gap should automatically be bounced from or rejected from, okay? And that's really the first stage. And that's honestly what I used to think too. You know, I used to only look for that, okay? So that's the first stage. And they know some ICT concepts, whatever. They're kind of profitable, but then they take some setups that they totally get wrecked on. You know the deal, okay? The second stage is not every student discovers this, okay? I just hung out with a guy. He DM'd me on Instagram. We hung out in Miami, and he said that he learned iFVGs from taking fail 2022 models. And this is where the second stage I usually see students learn iFVGs from. It happens naturally, where they take so many 2022 models and they take losses, they get stopped out a million times, and they're like, if I'm getting stopped out a million times, why not try to reverse my position when the iFVG or when the fair value gap breaks? And this is the second stage where I really noticed people kind of become locked into. Now, why aren't people profitable in the second stage yet? Because this is where they don't have a criteria for taking the iFVG getting broken. So, for example, they might see a bullish fair value gap here, and they might see us breaking in live time here, and they're like, oh my god, this is a bearish candle, right? They short, and they don't have an actual, so they short here, and they don't have a framework, and then all of a sudden we wake back up and they're like, what the heck, I thought we were gonna dump, my fair value gap failed. That is the second stage, and that is an important stage to get out of, because you're going to still get wrecked just like the first stage if you don't have framework or criteria surrounding an iFVG setup. And if you don't have, if that's still you, click the link in my description. It's an iFVG ratings guide PDF. I strongly recommend viewing it because you're going to get a lot of value out of it, and it's going to definitely get you out of the stage. So that's the second stage. The third stage is where they're like, okay, I understand an iFVG. I understand a fair value gap failing is an iFVG, but I also understand that not every iFVG is going to be good based off drawn liquidity. Right, the second stage, they don't really know drawn liquidity. They don't really have any feel for it. They're also just taking every single fair value gap that gets broken after any liquidity sweep. So they literally see a liquidity sweep, and the first fair value gap broken, they take automatically, and then they run into problems like this where it fails. And the third stage is, like I said, you got more of a framework now. You're looking for drawn liquidity. You're kind of seeing where the market's reacting from. So you're drawing more PD arrays. You're drawing multiple other fair value gaps, like how we're reacting, what is price doing. You're just taking more observations into account. And this is a stage where I really started to become profitable trading iFVGs. I'd see all these hindsight reactions off these random fair value gaps. And to me, honestly, I'm like, well, how was I supposed to know this was supposed to happen in live time? And the answer I figured out quickly in this third stage is you don't. You just watch for the reaction, and then you take the iFVG based on the reaction. Now, what if I go back in time and I saw price react here, but then I saw like this? Like, do you really think I'd take this iFVG then? No, I wouldn't. And that's something you learn in the third stage. You kind of learn, okay, there was a reaction here, and we saw in hindsight, oh, but then we start chopping around to these fair value, but I don't like it as much anymore. Right? You start learning that. And then all of a sudden you see this. You're like, oh, this isn't choppy. I'm going to take this. So you start to create a different set of rules, a different set of criteria to take the best iFVGs. And this is actually how I created my iFVG guide. So that's the third stage. The fourth and final stage is definitely a stage where this is the point where you have a 70-80% win rate. you're starting to be less mechanical. You know when the market should move. You know what a good reaction looks like. You're starting to predict where the market's going to react from. So, for example, this was one of the places I reacted the market would predict from on a Friday. I kind of drew discount and premium of the range. I drew from this swing low we created here, which is super obvious in my opinion, to this swing high up here. And I said, like, okay, we could definitely get a reaction at the 0.5 in this fair value gap. We've seen that before. And if we do, that's where I'm going to execute the setup. And we see we got an iFVG there. And stage 3, you're kind of just looking for reactions. But stage 4, when you discover iFVGs, you kind of like know where there's likely to be a reaction, which is going to make you anticipate the iFVG more. And then you'll be taking to better trades. So like a stage 3 person, they don't know if this is going to inverse. They're just watching price. A stage 4 person might be like, okay, we just got a very nice reaction here. We just reacted from this. Honestly, there's no point in this being rejected. You don't want to see it rejected. And if it's broken, then yeah, I'm going to take it because I'm already anticipating this anyways. And that's definitely where I see the most profitable traders. Stage 3, I have seen profitable traders, but you can really, really, really be profitable in stage 4 because if you can anticipate POIs and stuff, the price is going to likely move from, you're definitely going to size a little heavier than normal because you're like, okay, I definitely expected this to happen. Like I predicted this already. And that's where you really become profitable. And that's really where the win rate increases because imagine if you're in stage 3, you're just looking for reaction at this point, right? You're just kind of looking for, if we react down here, we get this bullish wick, I'm going to take a setup, whatever, Imagine you're in stage 3. You're not going to have as much conviction in like an iFVG in this situation as you were if you were to like be like, oh, I know we're going to get an SMT here. I know we're going to dump here. Now I just need the iFVG. We get the iFVG. Where is it? It looks like we get the iFVG here. Okay. You're not going to have as much conviction in this setup if you weren't already predicting it. Right? If you just kind of see this SMT, you're like, oh, this could be an inverse. Like, okay, cool, I'll short it. They're still the stage 3 people, they're still taking the short. But stage 4 people are like, oh my God, like I predict this is the SMT. I predicted the bias is bearish. I'm in it instantly. Maybe I'll size up a contract, whatever. That's stage 4 people. And to get to stage 3, or get from stage 3 to stage 4, it honestly takes experience. And the people in stage 3, I hate to say it, have not watched ICT videos. That's like the number one problem. They have not watched the ICT mentorship. They've only watched my videos. They only like understand the market on like a basic level other than iFVGs where I teach is really advanced. Right. And the way to get to stage 4 is definitely by watching ICT. Half the reason I know we're going to get a good iFVG sometime in price is because I know a lot just from watching ICT in general. Okay. Because I watched the 2022 mentorship. So that is definitely the number one reason why I say people don't move from stage 2 to stage 4. Now, moving from stage 2 to stage 3 is easy. The way you move from stage 2, where you're taking all these random fair value gaps, no context, whatever, to stage 3 is definitely by taking losses and then using my PDF ratings guide. Okay, that's going to help you a lot. That speeds up the process for time made. That's going to be that. And then stage 1 to stage 2, honestly, to get from there, you're going to take a lot of failed 2022 setups. And to fix that, you're just going to take so many losses where you'll be like, okay, let me just use iFVGs now and see how that works. So in my opinion, those are the 4 stages of how a student finds my iFVGs, how they start learning them, and how to slowly progress through the stages. And I think 3 to 4 is definitely going to be the slowest, but at 1 to 2 and 2 to 3 are going to be the quickest for sure. But 3 to 4, if you really want to get to the next level, I definitely recommend watching ICT Mentorship 2022. And yeah, that's really all I got. So hopefully you guys enjoy this video. Hopefully this helps speed up the process for some of you guys. And that is going to be it. Peace.